Somehow it's been a full 3 months since the last time we did one of these budget update videos. So you guys know that means it's time to go over our Q3 budget and spending. Now, in case this is your first one of these videos that you're seeing, we've throughout all of 2024 have been tracking absolutely everything that's been going on with our money.
Literally everything.
Literally everything. So this is pretty much how it works for us. We both have our own separate set budget categories, and then we set goal amounts that we want to spend per category per month. And then throughout the month, we actually track absolutely everything that happens with our money, everything that we spend according to those different budget categories, so we can see how well we're kind of doing, what we're spending our money on, all of that. We also make sure that we track how much we're investing too, so we're gonna be going over that today as well. Now, the way that we do this is we have our budget templates that we made. We actually have it for free for you guys to download and use as well. Yeah, it's linked in our description box below. We know some of you guys use it along with us, which is really amazing. And what's really nice about it is that by the end of the year, we're gonna have a fully filled out annual budget tab. And basically what that'll do is show us everything that happened with our money, right? So everything that we made, everything that we spent and on what, everything that we invested will all be in there.
I feel like there's something special about seeing it just fully filled out.
Yeah, it's like it just comes together like a nice puzzle. So then on top of that, every 3 months we've been hopping on here on our YouTube channel to show you guys kind of our update for the last 3 months. So in this video, we're gonna be covering what happened with our money in July, August, and September.
And it's gonna be a special one.
I will say doing these videos is also a really fun activity for us. I don't know if fun's the right word. I feel like I find it fun, but it's a useful activity for us because we never really know how our spending is gonna go exactly. We obviously are very budgeted, specific people, but you never know, especially over the summer, I think, which is obviously what this quarter was in July, August, and September. You don't know if you're gonna spend more or less. We definitely were a little bit higher on our spending overall, and Dennis kind of alluded to the fact that maybe he was involved in it being higher, which is shocking if you know our channel and you know Dennis is a frugal person. So we'll talk more about what happened there in this video. For now, we're gonna start off with like a high level review of everything as we always do, and then we're gonna dive into the specifics of how our different spending per category stacked up against our budget. So let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so like we said, we're gonna start off with the high level, show you our overall spending by month and by category and investing too, before we get into the details. If you guys have watched our videos before, you know we have our fun little money wrapped slide deck. It'll be up on the screen behind us too for you guys to follow along, but we're gonna go based off of this. So let's jump into it. First thing, this is already like the big, oh my God, numbers right here. In general, I feel like this is a really good activity for us to look at because looking at this, it just feels absolutely crazy when you see the big number. So this
These are big.
Yeah.
Mine is big, at least.
So this is our total spending for the quarter. So this is all the months added together. You'll see the breakdown per month after this. For me, I spent $7,658 over those 3 months that I mentioned. Again, this is less than my Q2 spending by about $175, so pretty similar, but I'm happy that I'm trending downwards overall. This is my best quarter of the year, I think, was Q1, which I think is classic for me, like beginning of the year, setting big goals.
I feel like a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, but this is pretty like average if you've been following along. For me, Dennis, on the other hand, not so average.
Yeah, so $9,294.71. So that's approximately $2,400 more than Q2. So she's trending in the right direction. I'm trending clearly in the wrong direction. But obviously it seems very unlike me, but we will get into the details and there is a reason for why this number is so big, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, you guys know Dennis though. It's not gonna be like some, oh my God, he bought something crazy. But that's our total spending. So now let's start with my by the month. So you can see July, August, and September, what my total spending for each month looked like. Again, you can kind of see, this is what happened to me, I think, in Q1 as well. Each month I spent more. So July, I was doing great. I was slightly under budget. August, a little bit over. September, decently over. So hopefully October, I'll see myself trend back down again for the rest of the year. We'll see, fingers crossed for that. I don't know if we mentioned yet in this video, but we pay ourselves out since we're self-employed. We both get paid $4,459 per month. Of that, we invest $2,000 a month, and then we spend from the other $2,459. That's our goal. So I was under that in July, a little over in August, more over in September. On that note too, for anyone who's curious, I feel like we get this question sometimes. If we overspend, we have a decent amount of buffer in our checking accounts. It's not like we go to zero every single month. So if we go a little bit over in a specific month, our buffer becomes less, right, in our checking accounts. And then hopefully that evens out throughout the year. We'll talk more about that in our final video for the year, right, what our actual spending was in total. But that's what it looked like. So for me, these were my months. Personally, I'm not too upset at it. I would love to be closer to on budget every single month, but I'll take it for now. That means that my average per month, though, was $2,552. So again, pretty similar, I believe, to the last quarter. I guess a little bit lower, which is great. Not quite as good as Q1 yet. So that's what I'm trying to get back to once we move forward.
Yeah.
On to you.
Okay, now for me, you can see the graphs are clearly just jumping out of the page.
Yeah.
So July and August, right off the bat, very, very big months, right? So July, I had family come from the UK, and we just ended up taking them around to like see different things.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, they had fun. I had fun too. We all had fun. But we'll get into the details in a second. Yeah. August was also really big because I don't know if we've mentioned it in the last quarter, but we're actually taking a family trip in December to Kenya. So while we're there, I booked a place for us to stay because we're going to be visiting the coast while we're there. So big month there, just off of that alone.
One-off expenses.
And then September is just, apparently it's lower than, my other months, but it's clearly very big difference from those two like major summer months.
This is classic Dennis though too, like even though he's not happy overall, his regular month where nothing unexpected happened, September, he was super low, probably lower than normal because he was trying to like make up for the past months. But classic, this is more regular you. But it's fun to see the little changes.
I feel like it is fun, and you can see the Steph's energy is obviously like she's ecstatic, like she's so happy, right?
No, I'm not.
But my monthly average was $3,098.24,
which is obviously higher than the normal you want, but
yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay, so now let's look at our actual total spending by category instead. So this is again an average over the 3 months, but by category. For me, the first thing that stands out for mine that I feel happy about is that my highest category other than rent, which would be too high for the page, is groceries, which is great. If the highest thing I'm spending on is groceries, considering it's my highest budget category, that means that's probably a win for me.
Yeah.
You can also see my grocery spending. We'll talk more about it, but it's pretty close to our budgeted amount of $300 a month. So I'm very happy. Big improvement over past years, you guys know. Restaurants, though, you'll see, even though it's lower than groceries, is definitely higher than my $150 per month goal. I'll talk more about why that is, especially since I think I've been really good. I think I was under budget both of the other quarters this year. So this was higher. This is definitely the summer thing catching up to me, spending more in the summer. Otherwise, everything's pretty good. Gifts was a little bit higher. In this quarter, we had our anniversary, our 7-year anniversary, and also Dennis's birthday. So that's the biggest reason why gifts is higher. But otherwise, it's a pretty average month for me. Like or quarter. I'm not feeling too crazy about this. You on the other hand.
So for me on the other hand, you can see that my other category, restaurants category, travel category, those three basically jump right off the page. Groceries, I'm okay with that. Restaurants, like we said, just with like family and stuff, like them being around, like we just went out more often than we normally would. And then the dentist. So I got a new retainer.
Yeah.
So that's
so
just
expensive.
a few $100s right there, right? And then travel we talked about, and then my other category, we ended up renting a lot of cars. So just between like going to visit family, going to Ottawa, me and my siblings had to go on a big trip to get my passport renewed. So that was really big. And for that, I had to pay for a hotel, pay for the car, gas, basically everything. And
it kind of went into other too, because like it's still a one-off.
Yeah, like it's not a regular expense that you would normally see pretty much ever, right? So yeah.
I will say, I've been thinking about this just on the spot. This is news to him, but maybe next year in our budget, we might add a category for rental cars, because in case you guys are new, we don't have a car. We definitely don't rent cars enough that it'd be worth paying for a car full time, but it might be interesting to track how much we spend on rental cars.
Yeah, we definitely should track it. I feel like this summer especially, we just ended up renting more
often.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still don't try it. It's not like a casual thing, but whenever it really makes sense to, we will.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's by category. We'll get more into the details in a second though.
We will.
Before we wrap up, we want to talk about investing, and on a nice bright note that makes us feel better. Again, like I said, our goal is to invest $2,000 each per month, which we did. So for the quarter, $6,000 for me, $6,000 for Dennis. And that is it for the high level overview. Let's go into the details and see how we did against our specific budget categories.
Let's do it.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about all of our different budget categories, like our goal for what we want to spend versus what we actually spent on average. So this number is going to be an average of the 3 months.
Yeah.
So rent, utilities, internet, we split all those, and groceries too, 50-50. Our rent was $970 every single month. It increased in June. We would have talked to you guys about that in the last video, but it's been consistent for the last 3 months now. Internet, $36.72. By the way, these numbers are each per month. Sometimes people think it's really low. I still feel like it's pretty low overall.
It is still relatively low, yeah.
Yeah, but $36.72 each. And then our utilities was a little higher than average. We budgeted about $30 a month. It was an average of $34.03. I'm pretty sure this quarter is just the most expensive of the year, with the summer being hotter, air conditioning, it's a little bit higher. Still not too crazy. That'll definitely go down again next quarter though. The next category is groceries. We budget $300 a month each for this as well. For me, my average for the 3 months of this quarter was $320.93.
Mine was $306.11.
So pretty similar. We do split
Very similar.
Yeah, we split it 50-50, but sometimes we'll have like an extra trip each here or there.
Yeah.
You will see, if you've been following along since the beginning of the year, we're really happy with this average now because we brought it down a lot and actually close to our budget.
Yeah, it was a lot higher before.
Yeah, we've been sticking with our Costco stock ups, which has been really helpful. We definitely saw some comments that surprised me saying, oh, stocking up makes you spend more. I think it can. For us, very intentional. We only buy very specific things from Costco. Toilet paper, a lot of meat. That's the thing that saves us the most money by stocking up. And then like cleaning supplies. That's literally all that we'll buy.
The way they have Costco set up, it's like they want you to pick up extra stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
We're pretty good. We're pretty good at not doing it since we're there for a purpose.
Yeah.
So that's been working really, really well for us to bring down our overall grocery spending. Now, restaurants, this is where our budget goals get different, right? So they're gonna be different for each of us.
Yeah.
For me, my goal for restaurants is $150 a month. That feels good to me. It's like one big eating out per month that I pay for the both of us, and then like some little things here or there.
Yeah.
I was doing really well this year. In case you guys are new, you'll know that I'm doing a $0 Uber Eats challenge, so I'm not ordering any takeout. That brought my spending on eating out down so substantially.
Yeah.
But this summer, I think I've just spent more on restaurants. I was actually under budget in July. I went back to look because I was curious. August, I was a little bit over, and then September, I was way over. In August, the main thing is that we've been invited to a lot of like local in Toronto, that's where we live, shows.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah, we've been getting invited to musicals, which has been really fun, but then they're at like a funny time where we can't eat dinner first. Well, we could, let's be clear. We don't eat dinner first, and then I'm starving after, so we like go out to eat somewhere. So that was, I kind of think, the main reason why I was over. And then in September, we had gift cards to this restaurant that I thought were at least $50 a gift card. Turns out they were $20, so I ended up spending $100 unaccounted for. So that's the main reason why I was over, because I was not planned on, but it is what it is. Sometimes you overspend, you live and you learn. My main moral of the story is that I ended up spending $244.84 on restaurants this quarter, but I know that will go down again for Q4.
Yeah, so my, on the other side, what I budget is $100 a month, and then my actual average is $373.40.
Which never happens ever.
So that is significantly higher than both of our budgeted amounts, right? Which is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. But for me, like I said before, it was my cousins coming from the UK. July was big with us hanging out, and then August was anniversary. We just ended up going to more restaurants, and then obviously the big trip for me and my siblings to go to Ottawa.
So anyway, you won't see that again though probably, but that was last quarter for restaurants. For me, coffee shops, I was under budget, which is exciting. I budget $50 a month for coffee shops. I spent an average of $38.96.
Mm-hmm. For me, I budget $20. I ended up spending $32.35 on average. Yeah, I think it was just like me and Steph going to, local coffee shops and grabbing coffees. And for me, I don't drink coffee, but I'll get like freshly squeezed juice, which is really nice. I will say I am really, really shocked at how expensive like lattes are. Like we'll go to the counter and it's like $10 for a latte, which to me is that's a lot of money.
This is why I budget the $50. But you normally don't overspend in it, but again, summer hitting you. It's like everything just happened at the same time. Next one, public transportation. I budget $50 a month. I actually auto reload my card, so some months is 100, some is 0. Mm-hmm. This time it was actually on the lower side, so my average was $36.05. I think the only reason it's not an even 50 or 100 is because I forgot my Presto card a few times. That's what the card's called, and just had to like tap with my credit card. But that's what I ended up spending.
Okay, for me, I usually budget $100, and that's same thing. It's automatically reloaded, and I spend an average of $83.33. Yep. So
just the time of the month when you reloaded must have been more often than mine. Taxi services, I budget 0, not because we spend 0. We just in general try not to Uber too often, but when we have to, we do. I just don't want to like budget for it and actually spend all of that. So I ended up spending an average of $23.94 a month.
Nice. For me, I budget 0, ended up spending an average of $6.91.
Very small, yeah. Probably like one quick Uber a month if you do that.
I went to a concert with my sister, that's what it was.
For me, massage and physiotherapist is next. I spend the exact same amount every single month on this. I get one massage a month. One massage a month, it's $146.90, whereas you don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. So.
Earlier in the month, you're doing earlier in the year physio, but you reduce that expense. Next is the dentist. Again, for us, we typically only go to the dentist twice a year, so it's only gonna be in our budget like for 2 of the quarters of the year. So I didn't go this time, so it was $0, although you had to get your retainers.
Yeah, so typically budget 0, ended up spending an average of $209.33, but obviously it was all at like one time, so I think it probably ended up being like $600 or something like that. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Steph actually accidentally put my old retainers in the wash and then in the dryer.
I was really hoping you wouldn't mention that.
So I had to get new ones, so you know, it is what it is.
To be fair, they technically still worked for a few months. The quality was...
It was bad.
Okay. Next category is personal care. I budget $100 a month. Again, this is kind of like toiletries, makeup products, whatever could fall under personal care for me. There's nothing specific that I get on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
I ended up spending an average of $170.11, so a little over. This is a category I sometimes do go even more over, so I'm not too upset about it.
Yeah, for me, I usually budget $100. I ended up spending $47.40.
Yeah. So for gifts and donations, I budget $0, but the only reason I budget $0 is because every single month's not the same, right? There are certain months I know I'm going to spend on gifts, sometimes I'm not. For this quarter, I spent an average of $241.64. Like I said, the biggest reason, Dennis's birthday in September, we all set our anniversary. I feel like there's something else in there I can't think of too. Like something else happened with a gift. But either way, higher quarter of the year that just happened to hit.
You know, it's crazy. I thought I actually spent a lot on gifts. So I guess I normally budget $0, and I ended up spending an average of $58.06. Yeah. And the reason I thought I spent a lot was because we went to a lot of like my family's like birthdays and graduations.
Stuff like that.
Stuff like that where you'll get a card and you'll throw in like a 50 or like $100 or something, you know?
Yeah. Next category is clothing. Again, another one that I budget $0, not because I never spend on clothing, but I don't want to try and spend on it on a monthly basis, right? So I'm going to try and bring it down. I ended up spending an average of $74.28. Not too crazy. I don't even know what fell into that.
Yeah.
Not very much. But I do know, and I can tell you guys now, get ready for my end of the year one. Q4 is when I've spent a lot on clothing already. Since we're a little bit into October, I did all of it in like the first week of the quarter. So just be excited for that next time. Meanwhile, you...
$0, spent $0.
Yeah. I don't think you've bought clothes all year. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys will remember probably better than us if you watch our other videos.
I don't know.
So for me, travel, budget $0, spend $0. You, on the other hand, this is where we already talked about it.
Budget $0, spent an average of $347.62. I think I spent like, what was it, like $1,000 on accommodations. Yeah. So that alone, all at one time, is just, you know, there's the travel right there.
I think that literally was the travel right there.
Yeah.
Subscriptions, I do $12.42 as my budget every month, and then I spend that. It's because it's just for my Spotify subscription.
For me, Netflix, $23.72. You know, spent $23.72. It's just consistent. Netflix, you know.
That one's always the same for us.
Yeah.
We'll see next year what changes. Fitness, again, budget $0 because we don't spend on fitness on a monthly basis. Yeah. Instead, we do basketball intramurals together. We do it all year long. We have to sign up every few months basically for the next session. We just keep it rolling like that. So we ended up paying for a session for the fall during this quarter, which meant that my average monthly spending on fitness was $59.89. But really that was just one cost divided by 3.
For me, I usually budget $0. I spent $71.22. I think I ended up going and paying for like an extra basketball run with some friends. So, you know, usually it should be the same as Steph's, but a little bit higher.
Still all basketball though. So the last category for us, other than investing, of course, is the other category.
Yeah.
So other could be a variety of things. It's pretty much anything that doesn't fit into something else that would recur on a monthly basis. For me, I budget $339.52. And the reason for that is because it's all those categories that are $0, but I might spend in. I kind of average it out into like a budget for other. Yeah. I actually ended up spending an average of $141.98. I think that's lower than my other quarters this year, although some of my other categories were higher, right? So it kind of all evens out.
For me, I usually budget $255, and then I spend an average of $498.02. So
this is where everything
obviously very high, and I think similar to what Steph said earlier, there's definitely going to be some categories that we revisit where we're going to add them into our budget next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's car rentals. So between weddings, hanging out with cousins, traveling to Ottawa, you know, spending a lot of money on gas, you know, the rental, the hotels. There's a lot that went into this other category. So, you know, hopefully we had fun. I did have fun. You know, I personally, like, I can't help but not to have like this
post-spend dread.
Post-spend, yeah, that's what it is. You know?
It's like a hangover. Last one, investing, we already talked about $2,000 a month. That was standard. So that's pretty much where we're at. And that's it for our per category breakdown.
Okay, so now we want to know how you did with your spending and your budget, especially over the summer months. And also we want to know what your money goals are for the rest of 2024 because we do still have a few months left. So make sure you let us know what your thoughts are down in the comment box below. And yeah, if you want to catch some of our previous budgeting videos where we literally break down everything, and if you want to kind of know the backstory of my spend history, I promise I don't spend as much as you guys just saw. But yeah, if you want to check them out next door, and we'll see you guys next week with another video.